Good evening, friends. In today's section, I wish to talk about or discuss about from Aphorism 26 to Aphorism 30. In Aphorism 26, we see one of the more important and very valuable section, that's the law of nature, homeopathic law of nature. The father of homeopathy, Dr. CFS Hahnemann, describes the homeopathic law of nature as still now, whatever we studied still now, we know that the disease is cured by drug forces, and the disease is nothing but a dynamic derangement produced to the vital force, which can be cured by the drug which have the power to produce similar kind of maladies or similar kind of symptoms in the normal human, healthy human person when it is administered to the person. And the homeopathic law of nature, he says that it had not been, it is the exact root of cure, or through which this existence of this nature, through which this law, the cure is completely possible, and which was still now or not now also, even now also it is not fully recognized, and it is only a summarized or zaramsed vaguely that considered by his own view. He says that the weaker dynamic affections is permanently extinguished in the living organism by a stronger one if the stronger one is very similar to the weaker one in its manifestation. That is, we know that this law is very similar to the law of, or the theory of Darwin, which states that the survival of the fittest. The same as here, if there is a weaker, we know as dynamic derangement, the disease is present in the human being is weaker, it can be removed by the stronger dynamic derangement or stronger dynamic forces which can be produced by dynamic force. And in this section we can see, in the coming section also in the footnote, we see that thus are cured both physical afflictions and moral maladies. If we know the diseases are not only in mortal plane, it's also in the physical, in the mental plane, also in the spiritual plane. Whatever the plane the disease is acting, in a finest way or in the finest word, we can say that disease is nothing but the dynamic derangement or the dynamic weakness or the obstruction in the flow of vital force. This vital force, we know that when a river is blocked with a small stone, the flow of a river is blocked with a stone, by using an external pressure we can move the stone from the flow of the river and we can re-establish the natural flow of the river. If there is a dam, constructed dam blocking the flow of the river, by destroying that dam or by destroying that obstruction, the natural flow can be retained. In the similar way, but for the destruction of that obstruction which blocks the flow of that river, we should use more powerful energy or more powerful strength than the strength which possessed by the substance which obstruct the flow of river. To remove a stone which obstructing the flow of a river, we have to use more energy than which can move or which can withstand the power of that stone. The similar thing is told in this homeopathic law of nature, that the weaker dynamic affections are nothing but diseases. This disease or weaker dynamic diseases can be removed by stronger powers, stronger dynamic powers or stronger energies which can produce a similar manifestation. In these words, it is clear that the disease, the natural diseases, natural maladies can be completely cured by artificial maladies or artificially produced disease, nothing but the drug disease force produced by artificial, that is the drug forces. And in the coming aphorism of 27, the curative power of the medicine is thereupon depends upon its property, through which it can produces the symptoms. The therapeutic, we know that when considering about the sand, Silesia is a homeopathic drug. The sand is the source of it. In the state of its sand, it is not curative, not therapeutically valid. But when we dynamize, when we make the therapeutic value come out from the external providing cells, such as when we think about the parasites and everything, we know that each parasites have most of the parasites have a sporocyte stage. The spore is nothing but which is covered with a very powerful coat which is indigestible. The similar way, the therapeutic nature of almost all the drugs are covered with a well powerful furnished coat through the previously proven mathematically and theoretically active principles invented by the blessed person Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, the theory of potentization, through which we can remove this covering, this ambush which make the therapeutic power reside inside, and this therapeutic power comes out which can produce the symptoms or the maladical symptoms in the human beings, can cure the disease because they are superior to the disease force. The drug force, the disease produce, or the drug force, the therapeutic power of the drug force, therapeutic force of the drugs is known as drug force. The drug force is superior to the disease force, thus why it is removed. We know that when there is a servant, there are 10 servants for a person, and one servant is appointed as the head of the servants. In the absence of the order, or in the absence of the master, the head servant will take control of all the servants. And when the master come back, the head servant have to go to suspended. In the same way, when we consider the body as the normal servants, and when a disease as the head servant comes up, it will produce its own symptoms, its own cause pathway, its own manifestation in the human being. And when the master, that is the drug force, that the powerful force comes in, then the weaker force have to be removed. When the powerful one comes, the weaker one should be removed. That's why in the Hindu mythology and also Indian philosophy says that the crown and the kingdom is for the powerful ones. Rajyam Veera Bhojyam. The kingdom is for those who are courageous. Kingdom is for those who are powerful. In the next aphorism number 28, we says that as this natural law of cure manifests itself in every pure experiment and every true observation in the world, the fact is consequently established. That is, we know the natural law of cure. Through the natural law of cure, what's the natural law of cure is nothing but the weaker dynamic power is removed by the stronger dynamic powers. It explains every nook and corner of how the cure is taking place. We know the disease is caused by exactly the dynamic derangement or the disease force. Then a stronger force can only remove it out, and the stronger force is nothing but the drug force. The drug force which has the similar kind of symptoms or similar kind of languages produced by the diseases. And in the next aphorism number 29, we says that every diseases, we know that dynamic derangement of life force is known as diseases. This derangement can be seized and completely cured by the use of exact power of the artificial disease manifestation, the drug force which can produce the artificial disease manifestation is very similar to the prevailing diseases or prevailing disease manifestation. And in this section we say that, so in every homeopathic cure, this principle of life dynamically altered by natural diseases is seized to the administration of a medical potency selected exactly according to symptom, similarly by somewhat stronger, similar artificial disease manifestation. By this feeling of natural dynamic disease manifestation ceases and disappears. Also, in this section we discussed that even though we know that the artificial disease manifestation is stronger to, there will be doubt come. The artificial disease manifestation or drug force is stronger to the disease force. If it is too stronger, whether it will cause fatal for us, whether it will cause danger for us? No. In the next section we see it that the natural disease are the coming aphorism. Artificial disease manifestation has soon spent his force and leaves the patient free from disease and cured. In the 13th aphorism, we see that human body appear to admit of being much more powerfully affected in its health by medicine than by natural morbid stimuli. That is why as we are thinking everything, when we go for a commentary of these words of the 29th or 13th aphorism, if the artificially produced, we know that there is a cancer, the benign tumor, benign neoplasia is not so much problem when comparing with the malignant neoplasia. So malignant neoplasia is somewhat highest and superior stage. Also the mild heart attack, mild myocardial infarction is not fatal than superior or severe myocardial infarction. Also the mild burning is not fatal when compared with severe burning. So whenever we think about superior things, that causes it will be fatal. So when we think about the natural diseases, the artificial produced diseases or the drug force diseases are superior to the natural diseases. So whether it will be fatal? No. Why? Because in the footnote of 13th aphorism it says that the artificial diseases or artificial disease force, nothing but the drug force or homeopathic drugs, are short acting. As it is short acting, it can be overcome by the vital force very soon, and when compared with the natural forces or natural morbidic force, they are long acting. Even it will exist in the position, it will reside in this position and act for a long period. It will not move out, it will exist there. That's why the natural morbidic force, even though it is suspensory or supplementary to the superior drug force, it causes fatal, but the drug force is so powerful that it can push out the natural disease force, and also it can also produce some symptoms, but it is too short acting. It will not have a much long period or long course of action. It have only a short period of action, term of action. So it can be overcome by the vital force, and the vital force can regain its natural state and regains its natural path. We know that what are the natural diseases? Nothing but the natural diseases are nothing but the miasms, the fundamental cause of the diseases, that is sora, syphilis, psychosis, and we also know there are tubercular miasms are also present. I think this section will be helpful for you for understanding aphorism 26 to 30. In this, the aphorism 26 is very important aphorism, as this gives the first or prime basis of the homeopathic law of nature. Homeopathic law of nature is nothing but in my words, homeopathic law of nature is nothing but the homeopathic law of cure. That is how the cure is take place. As per the nature can only cure everything. As everything we depend on for the nature for everything, and the nature is our mother. If a child is suffering, the mother will search for the cure method. So the mother will make the child calm, and the mother can only make the child free from all kind of sufferings. So in the homeopathic natural law, law of natural nature, we can see the weaker dynamic affection is permanently extinguished. That's we see that dynamic affection is extinguished. Extinguished, the word meaning is nothing but setting off a flame, setting off to a flame, setting off to a burning, setting off to the action of fire. So the weaker dynamic affection is set off and or removed completely by the strong action force, which has a similar pathway of course or similar course. It is the cure will be completely both physical and also in moral pathway. And in the next 27, 28, and 29 aphorisms, we again see that the drug force is superior to it. Through the drug forces we can completely cure it. Even the drug force can completely cure it if only if the drug force is similar to the disease force. And the drug force, as it is superior to the disease force, it will not produce any fatal problems, as it is very short acting when compared with the natural force, as it's very too long acting. Even it will act till the end of the person who is suffering. So as we are seeing the similar suffering, the strong superior similar suffering which is present in the human body that produced by a natural morbidity factor can be removed by similar suffering that can produced by an artificial agent that is known as the drug force. Okay, thank you friends, thank you. This section will be very helpful for you. If it is, I think it will be helpful for you. If it is helpful for you, please like it, put your comment on it for my as your farewell and feedback. Thank you.